What's up, fans? Sydney Colson here. Super excited to be in Indy. Cannot wait to see y'all in Cambridge. See you soon.
No one wants to play for the Indiana Fever. That's what Sheryl Swoopes and other Caitlin Clark critics have been saying for months. But earlier this week, two-time WNBA champion Sydney Colson arrived in Indiana with a message that shattered that narrative completely.
I'm super excited about it. I'm going from a team that was in the media, like people are excited to watch us, into another team that is arguably the most talked about team in sports right now, especially in women's sports. So this fan base, it's exciting to be a part of a team that has a lot of positive energy around it.
From the moment she held up her new Fever jersey to her enthusiastic appearance at the Pacers game, Colson's first day with the team was a direct slap in the face to everyone who doubted this franchise. And what she said at her press conference, it might be the most powerful defense of Caitlin Clark we've heard from a veteran player yet. Are you ready? Let's go.
Oh, girl, I'm gonna put on some other clothes. Oh, dope. I thought I saw the reflection when I was coming across the street. I'm like, wait a minute. What up, baby? Long time no see. It's been a month.
Remember when Sheryl Swoopes claimed nobody wants to play for the Fever? Well, Sydney Colson just blew that narrative to smithereens. And her first day in Indiana tells a completely different story. The moment Sydney walked through those doors at the Fever facility, the atmosphere instantly transformed. The viral arrival video captured by the team showed teammates and staff rushing to welcome her with genuine excitement and open arms. This wasn't some staged PR stunt. You could see the authentic joy radiating from everyone in the building as they embraced their newest teammate.
Hey! Hi!
Hi. I know. Hi, baby.
Hi!
Lexi, what's up, baby?
Oh, it's good to see you!
You too. How are you?
Good, how are you?
What's up, baby?
How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you. What up, babe?
Who let you in here?
Man, how are you? Good to see you.
What up, too?
How you doing?
Nice to meet you.
I heard bad things about you from AJ.
Horrible. You know.
Oh, geez, right there. Oh, geez.
How you doing?
How you doing? I'm Susie.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Already met. Okay, we're all grown up.
What makes this even more significant is the stark contrast between this warm welcome and the harsh criticism we've heard from Swoopes and other detractors who claimed established veterans would run for the hills rather than play alongside Caitlin Clark. The footage tells a completely different story, one of unity and anticipation for what's to come.
The jersey. Aww. Dope. Yes. It's so weird to see yourself in new colors. I love it. I love it. I love it. What's this?
Definitely they sent you a fever. I wish you had one.
You should have seen Sydney's face when she first laid eyes on her new Fever jersey. The pride and excitement were undeniable as she held it up, beaming from ear to ear while expressing her love for those new team colors. It wasn't just about wearing another uniform. You could tell this moment represented something much deeper for her. A new chapter, a fresh opportunity, and yes, the chance to be part of something special brewing in Indiana. Her interactions with Fever staff members were equally telling. General Manager Amber Cox didn't mince words when she stated, "I think she's going to bring a lot of joy to our lives this season."
She was somebody we targeted really early to come in and play that backup point guard role. We have ultimate faith and trust in her in any situation that we put her in. She's going to be able to lead our team. And obviously, great personality as well, brings a lot of fun and levity to the locker room. Again, that experience, knows when we need which side, right? Like the serious, the tough veteran leadership versus the, fun, playful Sid. So I think she's going to bring a lot of joy to all of our lives this season.
The immediate chemistry Sydney displayed with everyone she encountered speaks volumes about the culture being built within this organization, one that stands in direct opposition to the negative narratives being pushed by certain former players. What's particularly interesting is how quickly Sydney's arrival video took off across social media. The Fever's metrics showed the post absolutely exploded, garnering thousands of likes and retweets within hours. Fans weren't just celebrating a new player signing. They were rallying around Sydney's genuine enthusiasm about joining this team. That kind of authentic connection can't be manufactured, and it's precisely what makes the critics' claims look increasingly desperate and out of touch.
I think when we set out in free agency, it was to bring in veteran leadership, and we've done that. Players who have had deep playoff runs, we've done that. You look at a player like Sydney Colson, coming off what she's been able to do in Vegas, dating back to her, championship in Texas A&M. She's a winner, knows how to win, knows how to play a role. So she was somebody we targeted really early, but, just looking down the line in free agency, just really excited. When the plan comes together, you feel really good about it. Again, it looks great on paper. We got to get everybody on the court, but overall, really excited about the roster.
But Sydney didn't just show up for the cameras. Her first workout with the team demonstrated exactly why the Fever sought her out. From day one, she brought an elite level of commitment, showcasing her skills and infectious energy that reinforced exactly why they needed her veteran presence. This wasn't someone begrudgingly joining a team. This was a player who couldn't wait to get started.
A lot of things. It was Amber and Kelly, Stephanie, Kelsey I played with at Athletes Unlimited for several years. Love Caitlin's game, love Aaliyah's game. It made sense. I made this decision mentally before DB and Natasha were even a part of the mix. And so all the new additions, Breezy, Sophie, it's going to be a fun season. And
what makes Sydney's arrival even more significant is the timing. Here's what most people don't realize. Sydney made her decision to join the Fever before other stars like Natasha Howard and Dewana Bonner signed. This wasn't a case of following the crowd or jumping on a bandwagon. She chose Indiana because she wanted to be there, regardless of who else might join the roster afterward. The critics who claimed veterans would avoid Indiana at all costs have some serious explaining to do now. Not only did Sydney actively choose to join the Fever, but her genuine excitement about the opportunity completely contradicts the negative narrative surrounding Clark in this franchise.
All right, switching gears now, we are looking forward to a new season for the Indiana Fever, now less than 2 months away. And today we formally introduced the team, formally introduced its newest player.
Yes, so here she is. This is guard Sydney Colson. She is joining the Fever following 3 seasons with the Las Vegas Aces. That is where she helped the team win back-to-back WNBA titles in 2022 and 23.
Those critics weren't just wrong about Sydney joining Indiana. They were dead wrong about what she'd say once she got there. During her first press conference with the Fever, Sydney Colson had the perfect opportunity to offer a diplomatic, lukewarm response about Caitlin Clark. Instead, what came out of her mouth sent shockwaves through the basketball world.
So listen to what Colson had to say today when asked what she is hoping to bring to the Fever.
The scene at the Indiana Fever press room was electric. Journalists packed in tightly, cameras ready, all waiting for the veteran champion to potentially validate the narrative that established players resent Clark's spotlight. The tension in the room was palpable. For months, critics like Sheryl Swoopes had pushed the idea that veterans would feel uncomfortable with all the attention focused on a rookie. This was the moment of truth.
What was it like to watch what Caitlin did for this franchise from afar? Different perspective.
Yeah, no, it was nuts. There's no other way to say it. It was nuts. I think, you're seeing a team that's now affecting the economy in the city. You got people coming from out of town, out of state, out of the country, maybe even to see games. And so that's special.
You've been studying.
Huh?
You've been studying those studies.
Yeah, man, I try to pay attention, but no, it's been cool to see. Caitlin's a remarkable player. She's going to be good here for a long time. So I know people are excited about, her future here.
When a reporter finally asked the question everyone was waiting for, what did Sydney really think about Clark's impact on Indianapolis and the WNBA? You could hear a pin drop. Sydney didn't hesitate. With complete authenticity and a hint of amazement in her voice, she delivered the 3 words that would completely dismantle the hater narrative. It was nuts.
Stephanie just talked to me about how she saw me fitting in as a piece on court for the team, and that was really important to me. Like you said, I've been in the league. This is my 14th season out of college, and I've never been considered a lot in free agency, and so for her to see my value, it meant a lot how she was, working me in to be a part of the team. And I said I want to play on court more in my last couple seasons in the league if I have that. So This was just the right fit. It felt right.
The room shifted. This wasn't the reluctant acceptance many expected. Sydney's body language told the real story. She was genuinely enthusiastic, leaning forward in her seat, gesturing with confidence as she expanded on her answer. There wasn't a hint of resentment in her demeanor. Instead, her expressions conveyed unmistakable respect for what Clark has accomplished. Sydney went even further, describing the economic impact Clark has had on Indianapolis, bringing fans not just from around the city, but out of town, out of state, out of the country. She described this phenomenon with a sense of pride, not jealousy. This wasn't a veteran begrudgingly accepting a rookie's popularity. This was a champion embracing it.
What do you see your role being with this team then, given the roster that you're coming into?
I think similar to other places where I've been, I'm bringing veteran leadership, knowledge, energy, like swinging the defensive momentum, and just being that person that's dependable. And I'm going to always come in and do my job, and I'm going to be happy in my role, and I'll thrive, whether it's 8 minutes, if it's 15 minutes, if it's 2 minutes. I'm going to play hard and get everybody involved, and I want to win ultimately.
Perhaps most telling was when Sydney referred to the Fever as arguably the most talked about team in sports right now. The statement directly contradicted everything the critics had been saying. Far from avoiding the spotlight that comes with being Clark's teammate, Sydney was celebrating it. Her confident posture and genuine smile made it clear. This wasn't just PR speak, she meant every word.
I hear and see the things that people say, but I know the true Indiana Fever fans, the ones that love basketball, that they love the WNBA. I'm excited to be playing in front of them and just with this team.
But Sydney wasn't done dismantling the hater narrative. In what might be the most powerful endorsement yet from a veteran player, she called Caitlin a remarkable player who would be good here for a long time. No ambiguity, no hedging, no backhanded compliments, just straightforward respect from one professional to another.
What do you anticipate it being like to be part of all these sellouts and being the biggest show on wherever you go now?
I think it's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be remarkable. And what I always thought about when I was on a team that wasn't getting that kind of visibility, whenever you go play the teams that are, that's when you bring your best game. Because now it's all eyes on your team too, and people, hopefully will be tuning into our games and seeing players from other teams that they like, that are exciting, because there are a lot of good players around this league. So I think what we're going to be able to do, what the Aces, the New Yorks, what we're able to do is elevate the game and get people to respect our entire league, not just a few teams.
The sincerity in Sydney's voice was unmistakable. This wasn't empty praise. It was recognition of Clark's legitimacy from someone who knows what greatness looks like. For all the talking heads claiming veterans would resent Clark's popularity, Sydney's words and demeanor proved exactly the opposite. That true champions recognize and respect talent, regardless of age or experience.
The work ethic, how to persevere, not getting too high or too low, and just playing as a team, and it can make all the world of difference to win. And we got a very hungry team here. I've said several times, a lot of people didn't want to see Indiana after their all-star break, how they came and finished the season. Nobody wanted to see them in the playoffs. So I'm excited to see that group back, but also adding in a lot of veteran experience and a lot of winning veteran experience.
Sydney also made a point to acknowledge the dedicated Fever fan base, saying, "I know the true Indiana Fever fans, the ones that love basketball, that they love the WNBA. I'm excited to be playing in front of them and just with this team." Her words revealed an appreciation for both the existing fans and the new energy Clark has brought.
We've got a lot of players from a lot of places coming together in sort of a new look to a roster like this. What's the secret to making this all gel, ultimately, when it comes time to put it together?
Well, I think that everybody asked the questions that they needed to ask in free agency, and they trusted what they heard. And so now it's just about everybody showing up and doing the role that people expect you to do. If I'm known for my defense and playmaking, I have to come in and do that. People are expecting certain things out of you. The coaches are expecting certain things. Your teammates are. So it's just being a professional, showing up and doing your job so that everything can gel together and come with a good attitude so we can make it work.
When the Fever signed Sydney Colson, casual fans saw just another roster move. But basketball insiders immediately recognized something much more significant. There's a reason this signing might be the final masterstroke in a championship blueprint that's been quietly taking shape all offseason.
I'm super excited to be in the city, to be in the community, just showing that we care, that we want to immerse ourselves here. And, I think they are welcoming us with open arms.
Let's rewind to where the Fever stood before this season. Despite having talented young stars in Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, and Kelsey Mitchell, Indiana struggled defensively and lacked the veteran leadership needed to guide their developing core. They needed players who understood what it takes to win at the highest level, not just any veterans, but ones who could embrace a team suddenly thrust into the spotlight with Clark's arrival. Critics like Swoopes doubled down on their narrative. No veteran wants to play second fiddle to a rookie getting all the attention. But GM Amber Cox and the Fever front office weren't listening to the noise. They were executing a perfect plan.
You mean to tell me that two-time WNBA champion, the face of the God Dog League, okay? The Aces' main girl, right-hand man, Sydney Colson, is no longer returning to the Aces and is signing with the Indiana Fever? First of all, do the Fever even have any more roster spots open? How many folks are you guys going to sign?
You might be thinking, why all the fuss about a backup guard? Colson isn't your typical bench player. She's a defensive dynamo with court vision that would make an Eagle jealous. And that three-point shot? Pure silk. Imagine those skills paired up with Caitlin Clark. Or picture Colson running the show when Clark needs a breather on the bench. Scary, right?
What is painfully clear, and what I've talked about in my other videos, is that the league, the Fever organization are doing everything they should do to make sure their star is happy and that their star gets a ring. I didn't know they were going to load up like this, though. DeWanna Bonner, Sydney Colson, just re-signed Kelsey Mitchell. You already have Aaliyah Boston. You have Caitlin. You have Lexi.
Now let's break it down. Colson's not going to light up the scoreboard every night, but that's not why the Fever brought her in. They've got plenty of firepower already. What they needed was a secret weapon, someone who can lock down opponents, make the smart play, and knock down shots when it matters most.
Sydney Colson is a two-time WNBA champion, a true vet, an amazing backup point guard. And anytime that CC or any of the guards need to go to the bench, Sydney Colson always makes the right call, always makes the right decision. So to pick up a vet, a professional like Sydney Colson, and then you also have a vet like DeWanna Bonner, and you also have a vet like Kelsey Mitchell, and then you have CC and Aaliyah Boston and Lexi.
But wait, there's more. Colson brings something to the table that you can't measure with stats. Leadership. She's been there, done that, and got the championship rings to prove it. 2 of them, to be exact. That winning mentality? It's infectious. And for a young team like the Fever, it could be the spark that ignites a championship run.
I hope that some of y'all, if y'all are not familiar with Sydney Colson, I hope y'all, watch some highlights of her, because don't just be like, oh, Sydney Colson, she barely scored last year, she's not good for the Indiana Fever. No, she is. Don't worry.
Think about it. The Fever's backcourt is stacked with talent, but they were missing that veteran presence. Someone who's been through the wars, who knows what it takes to win at the highest level. Enter Sydney Colson. She's the perfect mentor for Clark and Mitchell, showing them the ropes and keeping them steady when the pressure's on.
Caitlin Clark actually spoke on this on Sunday, and she had this to say, quote, "I'm excited. Obviously, we made some great moves. I think Kelly and Amber and the whole Fever organization are helping us to win now, and I think that's really important. I think they're putting really good pieces together that are going to complement each other really, really well." And then she continued talking about Steph, their new head coach, and said that Steph taking over as head coach for us, I think, is going to be really great. A great basketball mind, someone that actually called quite a few of my college games. So being able to build that relationship with her and just be in the gym and work on things that she probably saw when I was a freshman in college.
But Colson's impact goes beyond just what happens on the court. She's known for being a locker room MVP. The kind of player who keeps spirits high during tough stretches, who brings the team together when things get rough. In a league where chemistry can make or break a season, that's worth its weight in gold. And let's not forget about those clutch moments. Colson's been there before, making big plays in high-stakes playoff games. When the lights are brightest and the pressure's at its peak, she doesn't shrink. she shines. That's exactly the kind of player you want backing up your stars.
We knew that Caitlin Clark was this phenomenal talent, but she was entering a league that she was not familiar with. She was a rookie. The Indiana Fever have been actively building and rebuilding their organization and this team, and they have a lot of incredible pieces. But the fact that they were able to get into the playoffs and be a team that, although they didn't, advance far in the playoffs, they were a team that we kept saying, if you face them, they're gonna make it difficult for you. That organization then saw that and said, we're capitalizing on this and we're doing it now.
But here's where the story gets even more fascinating. Colson's championship journey has a poetic connection to Indianapolis that feels almost scripted. When she won her Texas A&M back in 2011, that championship game happened in Indianapolis, the very same city where she now hopes to bring another trophy. It's the kind of full-circle moment that makes you wonder if some championships are simply meant to be.
I won here my senior year at Texas A&M. We played in Conseco. When it was Conseco, we won here, so it just felt like divine timing.
Colson didn't waste any time embracing Indiana basketball culture either. Within her first days in town, she was spotted courtside at a Pacers game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Not just attending, but fully immersed in the experience, connecting with fans, soaking in the atmosphere, and becoming part of the basketball fabric that makes Indiana special.
Welcome, new to the Indiana Fever guard and two-time WNBA champion, Sydney Colson.
What the Fever have assembled around Clark and Boston is nothing short of remarkable. With the additions of Natasha Howard, DeWanna Bonner, and Sophie Cunningham alongside Colson, Indiana hasn't just improved, they've transformed into a legitimate championship threat. This roster now features the perfect balance of youth and experience, offensive firepower, and defensive grit.
This season, the Fever is gonna run amok this year. You got DeWanna Bonner. Oh, my God. They took Sid. And some of y'all really don't feel like Sid was that valuable. Sid, so valuable. To not see Asia, Sid, Chelsea Gray, KP, and Jackie Young together.
Think about what this means for a moment. The young core of Clark, Boston, Hull, and Mitchell now has championship veterans surrounding them at every position. Howard brings elite two-way play in the front court. Bonner adds scoring punch and versatility. Cunningham provides shooting and toughness. And Colson delivers defensive intensity and championship leadership from the backup point guard position. This isn't just a collection of talented players. It's a perfectly constructed roster where each piece complements the others. The veterans will handle the pressure moments while accelerating the development of the young stars. Meanwhile, the youthful energy and talent of Clark, Boston, Hull, and Mitchell give those veterans a chance at another championship run.
What Steph White is doing and what the Fever organization is doing is nothing less than phenomenal, in my opinion. They are taking this young, talented core that they have, with Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark, and they're adding veteran players that Stephanie White has already worked with. Let's talk about that too, and has chemistry with and knows the work ethic of. And they are building this super team, make no mistake about it, that is going to give you instant results.
When Sydney Colson said, "I want to win," ultimately, she wasn't just making a standard press statement. She was laying down the championship gauntlet that's been missing in Indiana. Those 5 simple words completely shatter the Sheryl Swoopes narrative. Veterans don't just want to play with Caitlin Clark. They're literally lining up to chase rings with her.
Two-time WNBA champion Sydney Colson is officially signing a 1-year deal with the Indiana Fever. So, the Fever just keep on doing what they've been doing. They're not playing no games in Indiana.
First of all, this WNBA free agency will not let us rest. number one. We literally cannot rest. But also, I love this move again. Like, Sydney Colson is a great player, but she's also a player that is going to add even more to what we're going to talk about later, and that's that chemistry of the team.
Look at what's happening here. Analysts are already projecting the Fever for a deeper playoff run in 2025. This isn't just hopeful thinking. It's backed by the championship DNA that's now coursing through this roster. The Fever have transformed from a rebuilding team into a legitimate title threat in just one offseason. The 2025 season is shaping up as potentially historic for Indiana basketball. With Colson's winner's mentality now in the mix, the Fever aren't just building for the future. They're ready to compete right now. The rest of the WNBA has been put on notice. Are you hyped? Let us know how excited you are in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen and we will see you in the next one.